Samantha, welcome back in Rother after 7 years.
Thank you.
And it was quite a difficult time. You should have performed here in 2020, but circumstances were the reason why it took 3 years to perform here. And I guess your audience will see a completely different set than you had planned 3 years ago.
Definitely. I mean, they would, in the last 3 years, the set would have changed at least 2 or 3 times by now. But, you know, that's just kind of the nature of things. And, you know, we're in an industry now where with technology, the music continues to move forward because people are still listening. And so as an artist, it's important that even though we couldn't tour and support what we wanted to, we had to keep moving forward and creating because that's what we do. So I'm really proud and excited to be bringing the show tonight that I'm bringing it. Although it wasn't what I had initially intended, I think, you know, people are in for a treat because we've been working really hard on it.
You've been moving forward, now working together with Jessy Dayton.
Yes.
How did that happen?
So I've known Jessy the better part of like 12 years or so. And last year he was coming through New Orleans to perform a show and I hadn't seen him in a long time. So I went out to see him, and all while this was going on, I'd had this kind of band idea, this collaboration floating around between myself and my manager. We'd been talking about this thing we wanted to do and a band with a certain aesthetic and style. And when I saw Jessy, it all just clicked, like that he would be perfect to take on this band with, and he was into it, so we started writing together. We brought in John Spencer to produce the record, and yeah, it's just like now here we are. We're starting to perform the shows. The record's coming out very soon. It's really exciting.
Your kiss is like a death wish. He says we can keep it undercover. She knows one touch will put her under. Your kiss is like a death wish. Hypnotized, she walks on over. Smiles, puts his hand on her shoulder. Your kiss is like a death wish. Leans in, going towards the left. It's all over with his hands on her hips.
Now performing with Jessy means also music-wise a change?
Yeah, I mean, just because we've recorded a new album. We actually recorded an EP together too that came out in December. So, you know, this band was supposed to have a very specific style and personality, and that's what we've been doing. And though it's like a slight departure for each of us, it's something that's within our wheelhouse and what we love musically. So I think it'll make sense to the people at the show. And really my goal at this point, now that the songs are written and recorded and all we have to do is perform them, is just to make as fun of a show as possible for everyone. Lots of guitar, lots of singing, lots of original songs, so it's not too far from what people know me for, you know?
You said this band has its own personality.
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
Well, I mean, I haven't done anything where, like, I haven't shared in a collaborative sense a band since my early days with Girls and Guitars from Roof Records, Germany, like the label in Germany. So this is unique for me to be doing duets. There's definitely a really raw, almost punk rock thread that runs throughout the music, but it's still really rooted in the blues. But it's very rock and roll. It's aggressive, it's sweaty, it's tough. You know, there's the male and female counterparts singing together and harmonizing, and you know, it's unique for me. You know, I think people are going to dig it.
It's quite unusual touring before a record comes out.
You know, but it's been an unusual few years. I mean, like you said, things are supposed to be a certain way, and rarely do they turn out that way. But the record's coming out soon, and honestly, Jessy and I had talked about how prepared we wanted to be, you know, once the record came out, and we started kind of putting it together. I mean, the single came out a couple weeks ago, the first track. So it's right on time. We're slowly introducing it. We're not doing the whole album. We're just doing parts of it. Then we're doing some songs from our individual catalogs. We're doing the EP songs, and we're doing some covers that we chose, together. So it all works well.
Well, it seems so good to see you back again. Tell me, how long has it been? Why? Seems like a mighty long time. Well, honey, it seems like a mighty long time. Yeah.
Samantha, there seems to be a special German connection looking at your career. You mentioned Thomas Ruf and Ruf Records that got everything started.
Yes. I've been coming to Germany. Really, this was my first stop in Europe when I started touring internationally. Ruf Records, I signed with Thomas. The first project we did was Girls with Guitars, the Blues Caravan. And then I signed him for my solo records. And Germany has always been really good to me. I was blown away the first time I came to Germany. I'm, from Kansas City, and I was touring around regionally and doing things here and there, and, getting my stuff rolling there, and then coming to Germany and just the energy that I felt, from the people and how much they love roots music and blues music and rock and roll, and the fans are so enthusiastic and charged up, and really, it's a nice crowd to play for because they really feel the music here. And I've been feeling very supported by my German fans for years. I love them. Yeah.
You mentioned John Spencer, who produced the new album. You had different producers during the past.
Yes.
Luther Dickinson and
Mike Zito.
Right.
Bobby Harlow, Scott Billington, Martin Kierszenbaum. Yeah.
What's been John's input as a producer on this album?
John has got a very cool approach in the studio with how he approaches analog technology. And, we recorded to tape, and we used all these old amplifiers and old synthesizers. Everything was vintage. And so that was kind of cool, But John has a really unique way of arranging songs and instrumentation that makes it really hip and fun and cool and not totally on the nose, but danceable. And I love how he mixes records and makes things sound exciting when you're listening to it. One of my favorite takeaways from working with John as a vocalist, going in the vocal booth, and in the past I've worked with producers who are like, hey, hit this note here, hit that, try this. John takes it on like an acting experience. He gets you to really embody the character. And for me, that helped to get so much more attitude and character out of these voices, out of these songs, and it made it more exciting and more, I don't know, it's just fun to listen to, and I think the vocals are really expressive. For both Jessy and I, we talked about that. We're like, wow, I've never really recorded with somebody who got that out of me. It was very, it's like you're communicating, obviously, but there was something about the way that he was working with us. You get out of your head and you get into the character,
You recorded in Woodstock in Redactor Studio.
Yeah.
Vintage too, I guess.
Totally. Well, it made all the sense in the world. We had all this vintage gear. We had, you know, I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing Rick Danko's house that he used to live in. And I mean, you can't help but be inspired in that situation.
Was there a special spirit of the studio in a way?
I'd say so. I think that whole town has an incredible spirit. I mean, the studio was great. I mean, waking up there every day and going to work, you couldn't help but feel really inspired. But Woodstock has got a very rich history, and we even drove up to Big Pink one day to check that out. I mean, beyond like what the band did up there, which is incredible, but you know, all the history and the music that's come out of that area is pretty jaw-dropping. So.
Okay, Samantha, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was possible to talk again. Till next time.
Thank you. Dankeschön.
Show my rage for ya. Got my love, it's not enough. I need to prove it to ya. What's the difference? What's the difference? The difference in me now. Come on. I can change, I can change, I can change. Oh, tell me how. Rocks are off, you demigod. I'm just someone to talk to.